Once upon a time, in a beautiful city, there lived a rich and kind-hearted merchant. His wife was a very noble and loving woman. After a few years, they were blessed with a lovely daughter, whom they named Cinderella. Both parents loved their daughter dearly. From childhood, Cinderella was calm, hardworking, and pure at heart. But life does not always remain the same. When Cinderella was still very young, her mother passed away after a long illness. Before dying, her mother held Cinderella's hand and said, "My child, always be good, speak to everyone with love, and never lose hope even in difficult times." With tears in her eyes, Cinderella promised her mother. Sometime later, Cinderella's father remarried. His new wife had 2 daughters of her own. At first, everything seemed fine, but when Cinderella's father suddenly passed away, their true colors appeared. Cinderella's stepmother was a hard-hearted and selfish woman. Her 2 daughters were exactly like her, arrogant and self-centered. The stepmother took away Cinderella's good clothes, her room, and all her comforts. She turned her into a servant of the house. From morning till night, Cinderella did all the cleaning, washing dishes, laundering clothes, and cooking. Her face was often covered with ashes, so everyone mockingly began to call her Cinderella. Yet despite all this cruelty, Cinderella's heart remained pure and her behavior gentle. Cinderella lived in a small room of the house, which was actually the attic. Her only friends were little birds and mice. She talked to them, kept grains for them, and shared her sorrows with them. At night, when everyone was asleep, she remembered the promise she made to her mother and quietly prayed that one day her life would surely change. One day, an announcement was made from the royal palace that the prince was hosting a grand ball. The prince invited all the young women of the kingdom so he could choose his future bride. Hearing this news, Cinderella's stepsisters began dancing with joy. The stepmother immediately started preparing expensive clothes and jewelry for them. Cinderella gathered her courage and asked, "May I also go to the ball?" The stepmother laughed and said, "If you finish all the housework and look worthy of the ball, then I might think about it." Cinderella worked day and night. She made the entire house sparkle, but still the stepmother gave her no clothes. When the night of the ball arrived and the stepmother left for the palace with her daughters, Cinderella was left alone. She burst into tears. Suddenly, a bright light filled the room, and a kind fairy godmother appeared. Gently she said, "Cinderella, don't cry. Your heart is pure, and tonight your life is about to change." The fairy waved her magic wand. A pumpkin turned into a beautiful carriage, mice became horses, and Cinderella's torn old clothes changed into a magnificent gown. Shining glass slippers appeared on her feet. The fairy warned her, "Remember, when the clock strikes 12, the magic will end." Cinderella promised, and set off for the palace in the carriage. As soon as Cinderella entered the ball, everyone's eyes were fixed on her. When the prince met her, he was captivated by her beauty and grace. They danced all night. The prince didn't even look at anyone else. Cinderella was so happy that she forgot everything, until suddenly the clock signaled midnight. Frightened, Cinderella ran. In her haste, one of her glass slippers fell on the palace stairs. As the magic ended, she disappeared. The prince picked up the slipper and decided to search for her. The next morning, the prince announced that the girl whose foot fit the slipper would be his bride. He went from house to house. When he reached Cinderella's home, the stepmother pushed her daughters forward, but the slipper did not fit either of them. Finally, Cinderella softly said, "May I also try?" Everyone laughed, but the prince allowed it. The slipper fit Cinderella's foot perfectly. She also had the second slipper with her. The prince recognized her as the same girl he had met at the ball. At that moment, Cinderella's life changed forever. The prince married her, and she began living in the palace with love and respect. She even forgave her stepmother and stepsisters, because her heart was still pure and full of compassion. And so, Cinderella's story teaches us that patience, kindness, and hope are never wasted. No matter how difficult life becomes, if the heart is pure, one day life surely smiles.